Hello everyone. So it's been ages since I posted a Mayan sign video, and I spoke to a lovely commenter the other day. You know who you are, and you asked me about the Mayan Lords of the Night. Now, I've done a short video on all the Mayan lords. There isn't a huge amount of information out there on the Mayan Lords of the Night. So the information that I found is from my research. So if there's any other research that you have, or if you know of any added research that you think I might not have access to, that you could let me know of, that would be great, because I found it very hard to find in-depth knowledge, apart from the knowledge that I'm about to give you in this video. So let's get started. So, in the Mayan inscriptions that were found, the 9 lords of the night, or the 9 deities, were a constantly repeating cycle called Lords of the Night, or, which I love, Bolon Tiku. Now, I hope I've pronounced that. Bolon Tiku, meaning 9 of them. Okay. Now, these are the gods of the underworld. They're gods that humanity has to contend with or deal with to help them to evolve. It reminds me of the numerology lessons that we learn that are connected to our life path, because even those can be seen as a nemesis, which could be personified into a god or lord of the night. So it's based on the concept that these gods are gods of the underworld, that throw issues at us and problems that we need to work through in order to evolve. Similar concept to numerology. Now, the Popol Vuh is a story, and the Mayans, they explain concepts using stories. So it's a story about the hero twins, and the upshot of the whole story is that they endured ordeals to beat the Lords of the Night at their game. And to me, it's like they were thrown difficulties by the underworld Lords of the Night, and the twins had to endure all the ordeals and the life lessons and the difficulties that come with that, like a life path, to evolve in order to gain what the Mayans call eternal life, which we all have anyway in our soul. So the base Popol Vuh message is that mastery of our reactions, our reptilian brain that says, I will eat that chocolate bar, or I will do that thing that's going to make me ill because it makes me feel good, are the key to transformation. So overcoming those urges of the reptilian brain are key to transformation and world peace, or overcoming difficulties. And life lessons are key to evolution. Again, linking back to that numerology life path situation. Evidence, of course, is sparse, and there are some disagreements on how the Lords of the Night manifest in our lives and how they manifest in any chart. So some believe that the Lords are a 9-day sequence, and it's only for nighttime because they're the underworld, and it's the nighttime when the underworld gods are most dominant. But when looking at evidence and inscriptions about the Lords of the Night, they were found next to Tzolk'in dates, which are really important time periods in the Mayan calendar, and moon cycles. And they, as you can imagine, the 9 Lords of the Night, if you look at the lunar month, it's close to 3 cycles of 9. So many researchers believe and think that the Lords of the Night influence is as important as the all-important Tzolk'in in a Mayan reading. And if it is about learning lessons to evolve, I would quite happily agree with that situation, as the Lords of the Night being bringers of life lessons that we need to get past in order to evolve, like you would do in your life path. So, some researchers see the Lords of the Night as a repeating a sequence of days and nights, like a 7-day week. So they would say Monday would be 1, and Tuesday would be 2, and Wednesday would be 3. But there is no full consensus on that. Most researchers go, well, I'm not sure where most researchers go into, but what all researchers believe is that the Lords of the Night influence your personality in some way. And they believe that we're born with the character traits of our deity. And when I think about my Lord of the Night, which is Lord of the Night 4, which is about teaching and healing and young people and maybe being a bit overprotective, I really resonate with that Lord of the Night as definitely, certainly a lesson that, or things that I need to get past in order to evolve past that Lord of the Night. So I do think that the Lord of the Night is a very, very important part of your reading, especially when it comes to your evolution. So let's look at the directions. Now, there are, all the Lords of the Night have got names, of course, but all that information has been lost. So Mayan scholars list the Lords by number. And cosmograms that have been found in inscriptions place the Lords of the Night in 4 compass directions. So we've put the number to it, but the compass directions all come from the cosmograms. Okay, so Lord of the Night G2 and G3 go to the direction of the east. G6 and G7 are ruled by the direction of the west. G4 and 5 the north, and G8 and 9 the south. And of course G1 is the center. Okay, so that's 1 to 9. So the G1 center. So the domain for the G1 Lord of the Night is water, and they are a fire god. So this is a very, very, very powerful person, the powerful Lord of the center. You're very direct, very assertive, sometimes very combative towards others, very intensive, very passionate, and you're likely to experience very intensive, strong and forceful events in your life. You're very much about the primal needs, but your problem, your difficulty in the G1 is leadership. It's your greatest challenge. You lack the confidence of a leader and the personal power of a leader. That all needs to be balanced. Okay, you need to develop awareness of how other people perceive you when you behave in the outside world. You need to think about and have a better understanding of social norms so that you can help to get people on board so they will follow your direction. You want to be where the action is, very energetic, very powerful. When your Lord is the G1, this reflects in your personality. You're very strong, very assertive, powerful, and you want to be where the action is. You're not a sit in a quiet room kind of person. Loads of energy, loads of enthusiasm. Now, many believe that the G1, when the G1 is your Lord of the Night, you may have father issues, a distant or maybe even an abusive father. And the key to understanding yourself when your Lord is the G1 is understanding your father can help you understand a little bit more about you. Okay, not everything about you, but a little bit more about you. And the dark side of your personality is sometimes you have an urge to put yourself first too often, which again is not good for your social connections and your personal power and your ability to lead. So this is all encompassed in the difficulties. And the G1 is associated with the Mars god of war in Western astrology. So you can see where that energy is. And if you know in the numerology one, I know it was Mayan scholars that named the Lords of the Night and put their numbers on. But you will see that the one here is even close to the high energy of the number 1 in numerology. And again, with the 2 energy here in the G2 East, you see a lot of the 2 energy from numerology here. So the G2 East Lord of the Night is the rain domain, and you're the sacrificial knife. So you, like the 2 energy of numerology, you're very dedicated to your work. You volunteer. You always keep the housework and the washing up to date. Nothing gets left to chance with you. Nothing gets slacked off on with you. You know, you have a high sense of responsibility and people can depend on you. You can be a little bit over the top, a little bit obsessive compulsive at times. Definitely do too much and more than is needed, which is very common to the energy of the 2 in numerology. very hardworking, thorough with the details, because you need to keep all them cogs turning. Personal sacrifice comes naturally, which can be a good thing, but also a bad thing for you. And you'll step aside for others, to let other people take the accolades, to let other people take the opportunities. You prefer to, you're ambivalent about being the boss and leadership. You'd rather take orders from above. You're polite, you're accommodating, you're considerate, you're very respectful. But you must make the personal sacrifices that you make meaningful. You can't just throw your giving all over the place and let everybody walk on you. You've got to focus your giving towards areas that is going to need it and use it the most. You can't be helping everyone. You're going to exhaust yourself enough. So, too much personal sacrifice, you're losing yourself, and it's only going to affect your confidence negatively. So make sure, again, like I would say to an energy of a 2, get those boundaries in order. Boundaries of how you will be treated and how you will be spoken to, and the work you will do for others, and the rest that you need to take. Those boundaries need to be there so that people, without respect for yourself, no one else will respect you. Okay. And the dark side, again, is excessive self-denial, doing so much for other people and putting other people first, so much that you lose yourself to a massive degree. So if your Lord of the Night is G2, it's very important that those boundaries are in place and you're looking after yourself as much as you are other people. Excessive self-denial is not healthy for you. You need to balance that. G3, direction of the east. Again, the rain domain, and it's a sun god. Okay, so the G3 has a strong need for respect from others. You're a very serious person, insecure, high expectations of yourself. You like to be publicly recognized. You're happy to be publicly recognized. And, when you're a 3, you often want to and do hold a prominent position. You may even marry someone who is powerful. You seek the limelight in a lot of ways, which is totally fine. Very 3 energy again. But it says you're serious, and the 3 can be serious, but more positive than serious. So not everything's totally the same here. So strong need from respect from others when you're a G3. When your Lord of your Night is G3, you like to be publicly recognized. You may have a prominent position or marry someone else who has a prominent position. Whatever you do, you seek the limelight from doing that. But you work hard to achieve your goals. You accomplish. You don't expect others to do all the work for you, and you gain recognition for that hard work and accomplishment and focus that you put into your work. You must learn to be an authority in your own right via your own hard work. Okay, be an authority in your own right and not be under the shadow of an authority figure or a father figure. You need to be an authority in your own right, and you need to take care that your focus on accomplishment doesn't affect your relationships to a bad degree. We all need to take time aside for our relationships, and it's important for you as a Lord of the Night G3 that you do not neglect your relationships, or you take heed that sometimes your need for recognition and accomplishment and achieving goals, which is all great, can overbalance other areas of your life, other important areas of your life, like your relationships. Okay, you may work under a shadow of an authority figure often, and again, it's about breaking through that and being an authority in your own right. And you, by hard work, you can work towards that. You learn from your elders, and you're very realistic, very pragmatic in your choices. Unbalanced in your emotional life, which very much links into relationship difficulties. And people, because of your need to accomplish, people are often unsure of your motivation. Sometimes you may come across as insincere or a little bit shallow, and people often question your motivation. So sincerity is an important thing for you, which again feeds into relationship difficulties that the G3 may have if they don't focus on their relationships a little bit more, or create some focus, achievement, relationship balance in their life. So where are we here? Yeah. Your strength is persistence and dedication to greater learning and improvement. Remember, you're always achieving, you're always wanting to accomplish. Your dark side, and what drives you sometimes to learn too much and push yourself too hard, is that internalized critical parent, that inner voice, that inner toddler, that judge that tells you off and tells you you're not good enough. That's your dark side, and that's what you need to work on, getting rid of that negative voice and turning it into a positive voice, kicking that toddler brain, that reptilian brain of yours to the curb and getting it out. The G3 associated with the Sun and Saturn in Western astrology. The G4 pointing to the north. This is me. So in the corn domain and the corn god. So teachers, healers, overprotective parents. Oh, I can agree with that. I can be a bit overprotective. It says I love to communicate, and it says excellent communication skills for teaching and speaking when I'm not stuttering. Nervous disposition, talker, need to talk. Sometimes I do, it's always good to talk, doesn't it? Think and talk incessantly. Yes, my brain's always buzzing along. Sometimes it can stop me sleeping, and I do struggle to switch off. And if you are a fellow G4, you will struggle to switch off sometimes. That inner voice is always buzzing and you're always talking, and clearly you can tell by my videos that I like to talk and I like to teach and I like to help people. Definitely a strong G4 influence. I've always worked with children, which I love. I love my animals. I'm very nurturing that way, and that's what the G4 is. I find healthy outlets for my nurture through my children or through my family and through my pets, So finding healthy outlets for your nurture is a good thing if you're a G4. Nurture can be detrimental to the G4, so that's the dark side if your god is a G4, that sometimes you can be a little bit too nurturing, and again, people need to learn their own lessons, right? So too much nurture can actually be sometimes detrimental to the nurturee. They need to learn their own lessons. Sometimes they need the harshness of the world in order to learn the lessons that they're here to learn. So that can be, the nurturing side of the G4 can be a little bit over the top, overprotective, and can sometimes stop other people from walking their path. They want to cushion people too much. Creative thinker, very much so, loves art, you love to write. Scattered, absolutely. Jack of all trades, master of none, which means you find it hard to focus on one thing, very much so. Because you can do a lot of different things and you're interested in a lot of different things, it can be sometimes hard for the G4 to focus. And the G4 is associated with Mercury and the 12th house. So G5, again, the north. So that is the earth domain, the death god, and the midpoint, the center of the group. And you like to be in the center of the group, leading from the front. And, you can use others to do this often. But your greatest challenge is to act from your true center, from your true heart within. You must not use or be used by others. You need stable people in your life. So choosing good relationships in your life is important. You are deeply involved in relationships, but you struggle with them. So again, it's a relationship situation for the G5, because the G5, and the same with the 5 energy in numerology and tarot, it can be quite a turbulent number. And sometimes in the tarot, it can be very much associated, and in numerology, with change and turbulence. And you're deeply involved in relationships. You're a communicator. The 5 energy is very much into relationships, but you also struggle with those relationships. You can be touchy, oversensitive, and have expectations that are a little bit too high, leading to disappointment, which actually is quite like the 6 energy. You have high expectations and you seek perfection. Idealistic, uncompromising, rarely content with the choices you make, always second guessing yourself. You can be a bit of a blamer, blind to the reality that's right in front of you, deciding that you'd rather blame someone else for that, or blame the world, or blame him, or blame yourself, which is one of the things you do a lot. And blaming others for the fact that it hasn't gone how you expected it to do. and you need to recognize that pattern within yourself if you are a G5 in order to help you evolve from that perfectionistic nature. And, you're going to struggle a little bit with your relationships. Again, remember I said, but you're going to be very focused on them. And you need to avoid burdening others with your relationship failures because you can be quite intense. And, your relationship difficulties are very connected with your beliefs about relationships. They are your problem and your solution. So you need to analyze your beliefs about relationships and really look and analyze them. Which ones of these beliefs are negative, and how are these negative beliefs manifesting in your actions, your reactions, and how, whether your relationship fails or works or not. These beliefs that are inside you are going to cause manifestations in your life, which aren't always going to be positive. So time to look at your beliefs when it comes to relationships, okay? Because your dark side is you can have distorted opinions and distorted ideas that aren't realistic. Distorted opinions, can't even talk, there's me loving to talk, I can't do it. Overinflated expectations of other people, idealistic, perfectionistic. Now, this is associated with Scorpio, Pluto, and the 7th house in Western astrology. So, G6, which points to the west, is the youth domain, the jade water goddess. So, you're self-controlled, you're self-sufficient, you're traditional, and you are practical. Mother Earth, definitely, like the G6, like the 6 in numerology. Entrepreneurial. You tend to like to be self-employed though, because you're a hard worker and you like to do things your way. You like to build things, you like to make things, and you like to deal directly with the public. You like to banter with people, and you could be quite a good salesperson, consultant, counsellor. You take responsibility for yourself, you're very self-sufficient, but others are less important for your happiness, so sometimes you can pull away from others a little bit too much. Strongly motivated by fame, worldly success and acceptance. So again, you can push your relationships aside a little for your looking to the stars for fame and worldly success. You hold yourself to high standards of performance, similar to the G5, and approval may be needed by you to support your life, your self-worth. And that means you may look outside yourself for validation so that to prop up your self-esteem, when really you should be looking within. And if you're following your intuition, that is all the confidence you should need. You shouldn't need outer approval. So you need to really analyze this tendency you have to look outside yourself for approval. The one tends to do that a lot too often. And it shouldn't be used to prop up your self-worth. You, from inside, prop up your self-worth and your confidence. Other people's approval or praise or even vilification is irrelevant. Your motivation should come from within. And you're very sensitive to the rhythm of life. Read your intuition, okay? You have an interest in the feminine, but your intentions are good. You're a very good person. But you're also associated with Mars, which is a warring planet, Saturn and Leo, very energetic number, very exuberant, because you are entrepreneurial, you're self-employed, self-sufficient, but also traditional, practical, stable. You want to build things, you want to make things, you want to take responsibility, and you want to be recognized for that. You wouldn't mind a bit of fame, bit of success, bit of worldly recognition, but make sure you're not kicking your relationships too far out of your consciousness, because it's important that you take care of your relationships as well. G7, directed towards the west, is the Jaguar domain, the confession goddess. Strongly motivated by relationships, always wanting to partner up, you always want to be around people and have a partner in your life. You enjoy the public. You could be an excellent salesperson dealing with the public all day, consultant, teacher, healer, great. You love quality. You love the finer things in life. You enjoy music, art and culture. But you like to control your outer world a little bit because you struggle to control your inner world. And the G7 really needs to make sure they're going within. You're very strongly motivated towards relationships and the public and looking outwards. But the 7 needs to look within. And you find that in the 7 energy in numerology as well. The 7 energy, the G7 needs to look within and take control of their inner world. So they're not so focused on controlling their outer world, which is futile anyway. You know, it's your inner world you need to be controlling. High sex drive, and you often repress that, so that your high sex drive doesn't disturb your social life, which it has the potential to do. And you can avoid these urges, and you bury yourself in work to do that. You keep yourself busy to avoid urges that you think might not be appropriate or affect your social life in some way. You can be a bit the kind of person that thinks punishment is the way forward, and self-punishment, self-inflicted punishment, and, is a good thing to do to make amends, which can be, quite a, it's not a healthy way to thinking that you need punishment to make amends. We all make mistakes, we learn, we move on. That's the whole idea. So you've got to be careful with self-inflicted punishment. Okay, really analyze what you might be doing to yourself, how you treat yourself on a daily basis. Could that be linked back to any kind of misguided punishment that you directing towards yourself? That may be the case, that may not be, but that is a possibility in the G7 Jaguar domain. Creatively explore your inner urges through art, through healing, through any artistic medium that you really resonate with. Explore it. Okay, that'll help you to deal with it, so you won't have to repress it. You can express it that little bit more, but in an appropriate way. But most importantly, this self-inflicted punishment to make amends that the 7 often does, this can actually be very detrimental to your health, your emotional health, and your physical health. So that is another one that I must really get you to focus on, to think about. Okay, you do not need, and no one ever will, especially in source energy. It's not about punishment. Oh, no. It's about learning. Okay. Mistakes are not about punishment, they're about learning. So start thinking about how you might punish yourself sometimes, and then how that affects your life. Okay, it might be really important that you start making some changes in those areas. G8 pointing to the south, the Conch domain, the Jaguar god. So you have an overstimulated mind, bit like a 4, and you can see it's a double 4, it's the 8. Obsessive talkers, like the 4, a counsellor, psychologist, psychotherapist, investigator, so a healer, like the 4. But you're learning to face your inner world when you have a Lord of a G8, drawn to the deeper side of life very much when your Lord is a G8. You can get caught up with struggles and negative thoughts, like anyone can, but especially with you needing to bring your thoughts, make them more positive, and push those negative toddler brain thoughts away, because that can make you struggle at times. So you need to be aware of that. But, you're very quick-minded. You react to stimuli quickly. You're quick on your feet. But sometimes, your energy is too much and you might overreact. Which sometimes can cause you problems, especially when you're in a bit more of a controlled conditions or situation. Sometimes you can get yourself into trouble because your over-exuberance, overreaction, and fast movements and quick decisions, which can sometimes put you in hot water. Powerful intellect, but you must learn to study effectively. It's no point being really smart if you haven't developed your ability to remember what it is you need to learn. Regular physical activity. Remember, you're very overstimulated. You've got a very overstimulated mind, and the more physical activity you can do to try and run off that energy, the more it will calm your energy down. And the G8 associated with Mercury, Gemini, and the 9th house. Last but not least, the G9, which is pointing to the south, the night domain, and the rain god. So, like the 9 energy in numerology, I must say, strong, independent, self-sufficient character. Very 9. Stubborn, Sometimes antagonistic. You can reject others a little bit, be a bit distant, find it difficult to sustain relationships at times because you're so independent and impatient. You'd just rather do it yourself. There's no point getting anyone else involved. I'll do it myself, or I don't need a relationship. I can live by myself. I'd rather live by myself. You're a hard worker. You prefer to work alone as well. And like the 9 energy in numerology, you are not good at asking for help. You don't turn to others often. Very self-sufficient. You go within a lot more. Very, very independent, overly independent. You may forget about the fact that we are an interdependent world, that we are all connected, and what we do affects everybody. So, fierce independence is a bit of a myth, really, because you can't do it all alone. Think about it. If you were the last man on earth, you'd soon run out of food and electricity and warmth. We all need each other. We are one. So you might find it difficult to sustain relationships while you're so fiercely independent and impatient at other people being slower minded than you. You're a hard worker, but you prefer to work alone. You don't like asking for help, and you can sometimes come across a bit impatiently and forcefully towards others. And your dark side is that you need more compassion for those that are different, for those that, maybe you don't understand so well, because, you value your privacy. You like to work alone. You're a collector of things. So you like to collect things, and that's a very solitary kind of hobby. And like the 9 in numerology, you need to let go of past events and issues to help you build relationships, really. Holding on to past situations is never going to be good or useful for you. Time in nature is very relaxing and healing for you. And, it's about letting go of the past, to help you to improve your relationships a little bit more, because you can't do it all alone. When you're you might think you can, but you literally can't. And if you bring more people into your life, into your zone, and become more interdependent, you will be pleasantly surprised at the amazing things that it brings to your life. Now, I hope you found my video on the Lords of the Night really useful. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Click that bell icon and then you'll always be up to date. If you want a reading from me, I mostly do numerology, but I can lace Mayan astrology through that if you would like me to, or focusing on numerology, which is my specialism. So if you'd like a reading on your core numbers and you'd like to look at your Mayan chart, please send me an email or at katie@soulexplorer.net, or you can contact me through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. I also teach one-to-one lessons in numerology, and I have a course on Udemy. So if you'd like to have learn how to be a practitioner, a numerology practitioner, I'm going to put a link to my Udemy course in the description box below. But if you'd like some one-to-one training and a bit more focused training, you can contact me again on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn or Twitter, and I will be happy to help. As ever, guys, trust the soul within you, because only you know what's best for you.